a more northeast fashion toward Frankfort and along Interstate 64. But if you live anywhere from Bowling Green going up Interstate 165 or 431, especially coming out of Russellville and then moving up toward Greenville and Central City, that is where the potential tornado is occurring, and that's why that tornado warning has been issued for that particular area. And that's why we're going to keep an eye on this, not only for our regular programming on television, but also we're on Facebook, and we're going to stay on Facebook even when we're not on television. What are you seeing, Mike, as far as reports that are coming in from the Weather Service?
So I do not see anything that's really indicates any, of course we've seen that confirmed tornado warning out there, but we aren't looking at anything that's giving reports in our area, as we are in the very early parts of this so far. Of course, we do see that tornado warning that's entering into Logan County at this point, not confirmed at this point, but we continue to be vigilant and looking towards that, as this has been an active cell for quite a while, Chris.
Yeah, and I have just received a report that back into Todd County, that tornado was sighted by the public, and we're looking at maybe seeing a sighting into Logan County. If we can get a confirmation on that, we're just trying to effort all the different sources that are out there, trying to confirm some of these. We don't want to give out information that is incorrect, but so far the information is showing that there was at least a tornado sighting right there in Todd County as the storm cell is that left little hook that you see there at the southwestern corner of this entire supercell thunderstorm is where most likely that tornado would be located. So it's going to move in. Let's zoom all the way in, if we can, or as far as we can, into that area between Todd County and Logan County. You see the community of Lewisburg there, Sharon Grove, and what you see there is that the purple indicating that's a confirmed tornado. As it moves into parts of Logan County, we don't see the confirmed signature or tag on that particular tornado warning, but I would assume, and I would just, if you're there, you need to take shelter and just presume that it is an actual tornado that may be touching ground right there. Let's go to the reflectivity in that same view and see what we can see.
You want me to switch over radar sites for this one?
Yeah, I was going to say you may have to switch over. That's the Hopkinsville site that you're looking at. Is that right?
That one was the Nashville one.
The Nashville site.
It seemed a little too far away from there, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah,
let me see if any of these are going to give us a better look. I think that one's going to be our greatest there.
That's going to be, yeah. So you can see where we've got this couplet that's running together here, just a little south of Lewisburg. We can even zoom in a little bit further. We've got the roadways on. Now that we get into Logan County, we can start to see some roadways. This is 431 coming up out of Russellville into Lewisburg, just south of you, the community of Lewisburg. That's where that possible tornado has been sighted, and our storm velocity scope is showing that information. So this, if you're in line 431 south of Lewisburg, take cover. I think there is also, we can try to zoom in a little bit more. I think we should see some roads start to pop up once we get a little bit there. Well, we're starting to see some of
there we go.
There we go. The Edwards community, this is 431. Here is Lost City Road. Lost City is up there, the Edwards community. And we go further south, that's Epley's. That's in Logan County. Epley Station is the name that a lot of people use for the community of Epley's. And that's where the Logan aluminum plant is. So it would be moving right over that particular area. So 431 Epley Station, and just south of the Edwards community is where we're looking at that potential tornado. We have gate-to-gate shear and a couplet here that's indicating rotation. Now, it might not be a tight rotation, but it could be organized enough and over a good square mile area to where this entire system, this entire supercell is just rotating, and there could be some miniature vortices or spins within that larger rotation that could be reaching the ground there just a little bit north of Epley Station and the Logan Aluminum Plant. I know that we have some trained spotters out at Logan Aluminum that they on a regular basis train for these sort of things, and so they're watching. They have alarm systems out there. I'm sure they're alerting all their faculty and staff out there just to kind of watch that, and they have a pretty good vantage point too. Logan Aluminum sets there off of 431. 431 is up a little bit higher. Logan Aluminum sets down kind of in a more of a kind of a bottom area, if you will, just near the railroad tracks in 431. So they have a pretty good view in that area without tree obstruction and can probably see that rotation, unless it is, of course, wrapped in a lot of rain, then that would obscure them seeing an actual funnel. But that is a pretty stout looking piece of rotation there with that likely tornado that is moving just south of Lewisburg and to about Epley Station, where the Logan Aluminum Plant is located just a bit north of Russellville. Now, that confirmed tornado warning back into Todd County will expire here just within the next couple of minutes. It says 7:15, but they may go ahead and lift that a little bit earlier, Micah, because it's already moved out of, pretty much moved out of Todd County, and it's now over northwestern Logan County.
Yeah, their eyes are more turned to where it's heading. Of course, this hasn't gone confirmed, but you mentioned about the rain wrapped, and I've seen, you know, as this has come over towards the east, it looks to be that it has been rain wrapped historically as it's made its way over towards the east.
Yeah, I think that's the thing we've got to watch out for this evening, is that this may not be a case with some of these storms where you get the perfectly shaped funnel. It may be wrapped in a lot of rain because there's a lot of moisture content that's in the air. And, you know, with dew points in the upper 60s, even low 70s, that means there's a more likelihood that some of these are going to be wrapped in a lot of rain and you may not be able to see it. So you're going to have to depend on, you know, like us, your News 40 weather app, your NOAA weather radio. You're going to have to depend on sources where you cannot exactly see what's going on. But if you're in the warning, which is now in northern Logan County, you need to be seeking shelter right now, especially if you're along US 431 in between Russellville and Lewisburg. And now we're starting to get I'm hearing some rain on the roof here at 10th and Chestnut, downtown Bowling Green at our studios. Micah, maybe if you can find the camera, reservoir camera.
Yeah, sure thing.
Call that up and we can take a look outside. There's the tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock. So yeah, we're starting to get some heavy rain here at our studios. Again, this is downtown, looking downtown. You can see the low-hanging clouds, and you could actually look up and see these clouds moving at a pretty good clip. That means that we've got some upper winds that are really moving these clouds along, and they're all moving to the east-northeast as we're getting that southwesterly flow that is coming in. We're looking pretty much due west from this vantage point, which is Reservoir Hill or Hospital Hill, if you want to refer to it as that. And looking off in that direction, that is where the heavy rain and that supercell thunderstorm is located, and it's coming this way. So while we're not seeing anything that's really suspect here from this vantage point, that supercell thunderstorm does have the capability of putting down some very heavy rain and destructive winds, although right now, Micah, as I'm looking outside, I'm not seeing much in the way of winds going on here.
No, let's see if we can get a little bit of a better view, you know, in those more centralized cameras towards downtown Bowling Green, a little further there into Fountain Square, where the same case goes there as well. as we don't see all too much going on in Bowling Green at this hour. But I've had a few people ask on the Facebook so far about when this is going to reach Bowling Green, and we're not just talking about the rain, as we are on the forefront thinking about that tornado warning that is into Logan County at this hour.
Yeah, so to help you guys out and to help you navigate the rest of the evening, we're still a few hours away from the main line of severe storms that is forecast to move in here later on this evening. This is just really
That's
the
early.
beginning of what we're looking at this one cell, this one severe storm cell is the one that we're keeping an eye on because it has had a history of producing some very large hail, destructive hail, damaging wind, and at least one or maybe two places where we saw a confirmed tornado. It's starting to look a little more ragged now, but we're just now starting to get some of the rain moving into Bowling Green and downtown Bowling Green at the moment. And this is the outer edge of that one particular cell. Look how huge that is. It's one cell. And it's been a long-lived cell that it actually started back in the Boot Hill of Missouri, went through Paducah and produced a possible tornado there. And now it is just producing copious amounts of rain. There's a number of, notice all the lightning strikes that are going on with that. And there's enough rotation there to be cautious as to, hey, it could be producing a tornado. We're just going to have to wait and see what that does. I haven't seen any reports out of Lewisburg or Logan County or even Todd County as far as any kind of damage. Let me see. There is one report I'm noticing here coming in. Okay, it's for a different part of Kentucky. Some other parts of Kentucky did have some 2-inch diameter hail. We're talking about ping pong ball to golf ball sized hail. So when you get ice that big coming down out of the sky at about 80 to 90 miles per hour, that's bad. That's going to put a ping or a couple of pings on your automobile. It could knock out a windshield. It could knock out anything like that, a carport. And if there's, cattle outside or horses or anything of that nature, it could really cause it. That could be a big problem as well. So that's what we're concerned about, that this storm has that capability of doing all of that. Let's go to let's stop the motion on that, and let's go to the hail tracker. I'm just curious to see, I noticed that back where that appendage is right toward Lewisburg, that there's a possibility of go to the hail tracker.
Hail tracker?
There's one, yeah. We should be able to see a long line of hail. There should be there we go, that's it. Now expand that out just a little bit. Okay, look at all that. That is the track of hail that has been produced by that one cell that's been feeding off all of the energy that surrounded that one cell. And where you see some of these darker purples, like where we had the tornado warning in northern Todd County, that is an indication of 2-inch diameter hail or larger. That's some big hail. We're starting to see maybe there's some reports of that in extreme northern Logan County up near Lewisburg. There could be some very large hail that's coming down there with that current tornado warning. That tornado warning goes how long, Micah?
Goes until 7:30.
Okay, so we've got 10, 14 minutes still left on that particular tornado warning. North of that is a severe thunderstorm warning. You can see the lightning beginning to cluster there from Morgantown all the way down to just about to Russellville. So that severe thunderstorm warning will continue until 7:30. But that's an incredible trail of large hail that has been from that one supercell that we've been tracking for much of this evening, and it continues to put down maybe some large hail. Now, there could be a little bit of melting that takes place once that piece of ice starts to come down out of the thunderstorm cloud. With it as warm as it is and with as humid as it is, that it may not be as big as what the Doppler radar is indicating, but still, you have the potential there for some large hail. Let's throw on the shear marker. There's a shear product, and we've been watching this shear track. And again, this is from that one particular supercell. This is where the atmosphere has spin. It's called a shear. You have wind shear, you have speed shear, you have directional shear. In other words, you've got winds that are rotating up into the thunderstorm, and oftentimes it could change direction or change speed with height. And that's what we're watching here. And where some of the highest shear has been recorded is right there as it moved, that cell moved out of Christian County into Todd County before that confirmed tornado warning. So that's key to note that, because that gave us an indication that this thing was actually producing a tornado, possibly reaching ground. And now we're seeing some of the lighter shear, or not as strong of a shear marker, moving into parts of Butler County and northern Logan County, and eventually here in the Bowling Green, Warren County area. So that tells the story of that one cell. It is sometimes often difficult to have just one supercell, because usually these cells will pop up all over the place and you will have the energy being shared. But in this case, that cell did not share anything with anybody except for the heavy rain, the hail, and the possible tornado, because it had everything to feed off of around it. There were no other cells robbing it of its energy. So it just runs into this energy that's been here all day and pulls from it, and this is the result. Thankfully, we have not heard of any actual tornado destruction or anything like that, just confirmation from viewers and from people out there, storm spotters, saying, yeah, while it was in Todd County, it was a tornado. Now we look at the storm velocity, and we can zoom in on that. It's still got a little gate-to-gate shear here. I mean, it's very broad now as the center of the rotation has moved a little further east. There's Lewisburg and 431. It is now moving into the eastern part of Logan County and will soon be at the intersection of, let's see here, Costello, and then down to Chandler's Chapel. Once you're in that area, actually, you're in that zone of where we're seeing the couplet, the reds and the greens together. If you would scoot it over just a little bit further right, no, the other, I'm sorry.
Other right.
Yeah, the other right. Yeah, the community of Homer, that is Homer-Ensco Road. So if you're between Ensco, Coopertown Road, down toward the community of Homer, you've got Chandler's Chapel, Turner Road, and then Costello off to the north. This is all in Logan County. There is a very broad rotation there, inbound and outbound winds rotating together, indicating that there could possibly be a tornado in that particular area. Fortunately, we have not heard very many reports of that, or nothing that's coming in yet. But here's the thing, that is heading due east toward the Gasper River area, and then of course it's going to cross over. It looks like it's going to head right into western Warren County, kind of following 6880, which you can see down here from Russellville to Auburn, and then Rockfield, Browning, and eventually into the Bowling Green area. So its movement is off to the east. Do you have a speed on that, Micah?
The speed on that tornado warning or the severe thunderstorm warning?
The tornado warning.
Tornado warning is moving at east at 40 miles an hour.
Okay.
So it's one of those slower moving storms. It was moving for sure faster a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so with that kind of speed, then it's going to be here. You can probably, if you want to put a storm timer on that and just expand it out to the east, we'll get, so if it's moving, 40 miles per hour and a little south and east. So there's your timing. Rockfield 7:44, Woodburn at 7:50, and the current time is 7:22. So if you're in line with that particular storm, this is your moment to seek shelter, and and even if it's not an actual tornado on the ground, we are seeing a definite sign, a signature, a couplet of where the winds are rotating right around the southwestern corner of that incredible supercell as it continues to push off to the east. It wouldn't surprise me if they add another tornado warning a little bit further east here in the next few minutes as this one starts to expire at 7:30. Probably Auburn, Rockfield, Woodburn, maybe even Bowling Green may be included in that new warning. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning, which has just been issued now for Warren County until 8 o'clock, and it's for the northern side of that one cell. Now, the northern side of that cell, lots of rain, lots of lightning. I mean, almost continual lightning. The electrical component of this storm is pretty incredible as well. And you're likely to get some hail, some large hail out of this. Destructive winds are also possible as the thunderstorm energy comes back down to the ground, and that could knock over power lines. Okay, I think that's going to be a new
There'll be tornado
warning.
warning coming in very soon. Before we get to that, of course, we are looking at 2-inch hail and 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts with that severe thunderstorm warning that we were just talking about. But there's that update, Chris, with the tornado warning. Not confirmed, not PDS right now, but we are under that tornado warning for much of this area. Of course, we know Bowling Green is of the greatest, people watching right now online and on air.
Yeah, so here is the new tornado warning just issued, and it's for that same area that I just pinpointed just moments ago, saying that warning to the west would be extended further east just based on what we're seeing with that hook echo, and that has happened. Rockfield, Bowling Green, Plum Springs, all the way to Smiths Grove, now under that brand new tornado warning until 8:15 is the expired time. So this is going to be here for a little bit. So you can hear the outdoor warning sirens, the cows, the community outdoor warning sirens, COWS, cows, that are going off here in Bowling Green and Warren County as that storm is moving east, potential tornado now, moving east at, what did we say?
45 miles an hour now.
45. It's picked up a little forward speed, and that's a concern. So specifically, the tornado warning, northeastern Logan, south central Butler, and central Warren counties until 8:15. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 10 miles northeast of Russellville, moving east at, as you said, 45 miles per hour. Potential tornado, but also up to golf ball size hail is going to come in with that supercell thunderstorm that might be producing a tornado. What I want to do, Micah, is take a look. Let's go back to the reflectivity and zoom way in on that appendage where we think that tornado is.
You want velocity?
Yes.
Velocity. Okay.
Yeah, so there is the storm velocity. Now, I notice we've got a lot of polygons here going, but let me just suffice it to say this is the worst part of the storm. Let's zoom in a little bit more so we can start to see some roads, because I want to start tracking this as we get down to your level, where you live. That's where we need to be, and you need to be seeking shelter right now if you're in the in the path of this potential tornado. Now, this looks pretty ragged at the moment, but let's, yeah, there's an update. It just did an update. The potential tornado.
Let me try a different one
Yeah,
here.
let's go a different
That's not
view.
going to give us the greatest information.
Try. Okay.
I think that's going to be our greatest.
Okay, we're probably in an area where it's going to be a little, get some RF, radio frequency overlap or folding in of the algorithm, so to speak. Buffalo Fork and the Richelieu community, that is where that potential tornado is moving. It's moving out of Logan County and will soon, this is the Warren County line right here. Here is the Browning community, and that is where that potential tornado is. Just a little bit north of Gasper, a little bit east of Russellville, and then right over Buffalo Fork. That is where that potential tornado, we think, is going to be located. So we're going to not only see this moving off to the east at about 45 miles per hour, but it may even pick up a little bit more speed, forward motion, as it taps into the available very unstable air mass that has been sitting over us all day. Now, we did have a time when the sun came out for a while, and that added to the instability, but the instability factor is rather high, the moisture content is rather high, and that means whatever rain or thunderstorms that we do get, regardless of whether we get a tornado or not, is going to produce some large hail. And I thought maybe I heard some here at the studio.
Maybe not hail, but the rain has made its way to our studio in
Yes.
downtown Bowling Green for sure. And that's evident, very evident on the radar.
Now look at this. This is now starting to get a nice hook right there. This is what we call a classic supercell. By that, I mean it is wound up, and it's starting to wind up and become much tighter as far as its rotation. This whole thing is rotating. Remember, it's just one cell. This is just one cell. It's not a bunch of them. This is one cell starting to wrap around. There's a notch right there, dry slot that's coming in to the eastern side of the storm, and that's where the dry slot is going to, shuts off the rain. It doesn't mean the air mass is dry, because it's not. It's very wet. It is very moist. It is very muggy, and it's just awful outside. When you get dew points in the low 70s, that's a lot of moisture content in the air. But this thing is starting to really show this appendage here, this rotation that could be producing a tornado right there, moving out of the extreme northeastern corner of Logan County. This would be Butler County, excuse me, right up above it. And then this line is Warren County. So it's about to move in to the western part of Warren County. If you're in Warren County right now, the Bowling Green area, you should be seeking shelter right now. And Micah, for those that don't know, go over the safety rules here with a tornado.
So let's go with those tornado safety rules, as you were mentioning, Chris. And those, you know, we've learned them in elementary school, in all of my schooling, and surely you have as well. Go to a basement or a small room. If possible, make it be interior of your home. Don't be on the siding, near the siding. Be as close to the center of your house if you can in that small room. Stay away from the windows. Cover your head with something sturdy. And, of course, if you're in a mobile home or a car, abandon those if possible, and that should be, when I say if all possible, get yourself out of your mobile home and your cars. If you are in Bowling Green, you have a little bit of time here in order to do that. And then we look towards what we're to, the more visual part of this, where should you go? Well, the lowest level of your house is, of course, where we're going to suggest you go to. Bathtub or a closet, and a basement is best if you can get there. And then away from windows and doors. And again, cover your head. And if you are caught outside, if you don't have enough time, get out of your car, get out of your mobile home, and if you're caught outside, crouch to the ground.
Yeah, so that
And
graphic.
don't if you're if you're near an underpass, do not go under an underpass. That's for sure.
Do
That's
not.
something that was used to be taught, Chris.
Yeah, we've learned lessons through people being hurt, and really, actually, in some fatalities, people getting in their vehicles or out of their vehicles, getting under bridges to seek shelter. And the thing is, you got to remember, is with an incoming tornado and with the winds that are rotating around that vortex, it's almost like a suction that can happen underneath a bridge or an overpass. That's why you don't want to be there for shelter. You're better off staying in your vehicle than to get under a bridge if a tornado is coming. But some good tips to keep in mind. Everybody just find, the lowest part of your home. The lowest part may be your only floor, your level floor. Some of you have a basement. That'd be great if you go there. But if you just have the lowest level, that's where you need to go. Find a closet or get in the bathtub. I am not kidding. Get in the bathtub. I have been to places after a tornado where the entire house is obliterated except for the bathroom or a closet, and it was still standing in most cases. That's because around the bathroom, you've got water pipes that kind of secure the structure of the home around that small area. And of course, a closet is going to be even better because usually closets are very small. So that's where you need to be in this case. We're still seeing that very potent signature there just to the west of Bowling Green. I still hear the cow sirens going off as we're under that tornado warning, and it would be right there that we're seeing that possible tornado. So let's zoom in to that area where we see that couplet. It's a little ragged right now, but let's zoom in on that. Let's show some streets. There is the Blue Level community, Blue Level Road, JB Branch Road, Happy Hollow Road. There's a Happy Hollow Road in Glasgow. That's not it. This is in Warren County, just west of the city of Bowling Green. Hammett Hill Road, that would be off of Morgantown Road. That's 231 right there. And this is Interstate 165. This is the interchange of Morgantown Road and 165. So as you're going north, 231, and then one of the first roads you go to off to the left is Hammett Hill Road. You go up a hill and you go out that direction like you're going to go out toward Barron River. And that is where this possible tornado is located, and also in the Blue Level Road area. If you're in Blue Level, you should be seeking shelter right now because that potential tornado is headed east. I don't know if we can take some of our cameras. I've been noticing them on the other monitors here in the studio, but it is looking very nasty.
We
outside.
are getting some reports that there is hail on veterans, around veterans near Walmart.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Now, let me do a little weather education here for you. You see these appendages, that's not necessarily a tornado. There's another one there. Is that hail?
That might be hail. That has to be hail. Yeah, that's hail.
Okay, there's hail falling here at 10th and Chestnut downtown now. That's a far different sound than what we heard a while ago. It's almost like
and it's picking up.
Somebody's knocking on the door. I mean, that's big hail.
Yeah.
It is hitting our roof here. I mean, you can hear it. But look,
Size of quarters is what somebody
quarter
is.
size hail. Okay, so there's another report, confirmation report.
It's from one
These-
of our viewers there.
These little pieces of the cloud structure itself hanging down, not necessarily a tornado. What we watch for is a spin. If this looks like it is rotating in that one general area, then maybe you've got something. Boy, that is loud.
That is loud, Chris.
That may be larger than quarter size hail. You can see here we have another low-hanging, kind of a wall cloud almost off in the distance there. That's a little more southwest, and that would be more in line with where we're seeing that possible tornado signature. That is some big, big hail.
It sounds
that
like
is coming
somebody's
down.
just like stomping on our roof here, Chris.
Can we, let's go to the Fountain Square
See if we can get a better view. here.
camera. Yeah,
Yeah.
we may be able to see it there.
We can see it a little bit. Yeah.
If you look real close, you can see the pieces of ice come down and then bounce off. Yeah,
Thankfully, it looks like all the cars are safe with their windows at this point. So I know that's what I was kind of wondering, Chris, as that hail was coming in. But it looks to be, we've got a few people saying pea size, a few that are saying marble size, a few quarter size. I think we're around that.
yeah, you can see it accumulating right there, just around the Fountain Square.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since I've heard hail coming down. Where you got, Slush?
He's got hail.
He's got some. Yeah. So, well, it's about dime size.
There are some,
Yeah. There are some bigger ones out there? Okay. Well, yeah, I would say there probably is just by the sound of it, but yeah, I mean, that's, yeah. So I'm gonna, here you go. Take that, yeah. So you're getting hail. There's another indication of just how strong this particular supercell storm is. And it's still, the hail's still coming down. Now, Micah, there's the hail signature, there's the hail path, and where you're seeing some of the darker areas, that is where you're getting maybe up to 2-inch diameter hail, which would be a lot larger than what we just showed you, and quarter size to maybe ping pong ball or golf ball size hail. Very possible in some of those areas. But looking at the storm velocity, and where we see the reds meeting up with the greens, inbound, outbound winds coming together, it's a little ragged, but there is still a couplet there, and it is just south of the Spring Hill community, Crestmore, Lost River. This is as you go south, this would be, or Memphis Junction would be 31W, that's 68. Going toward Rockfield. It is just north of Rockfield and pretty close to downtown now. And that's that. If there is a tornado there, it would be there that we see it. And again, it may be rain wrapped, or it could be, there could be some hail contamination within that circulation if it's reaching the ground. But if you're in the city of Bowling Green, you need to be seeking shelter right now already, Plum Springs. And then even out to the east from Oakland to Smiths Grove, you too are under that tornado warning that is going to continue for until 8:15. We've got another 30 minutes or so to deal with that particular tornado warning. I am curious though, Micah,
Yeah.
I want to see the next update, the next scan that comes in, because that one looks it looks a little ragged. I'm not sure I'm buying it because we've seen these storms kind of fall apart and then ramp back up. And just when you think it's weakening as it moves off to the east, then it comes back again. It pulses back up, and that is a concern because then what that's telling me is that these storms may start to rain themselves out and fall apart just a bit, but then they tap into that all that available, very unstable atmosphere ahead of it, and they just pulse back up. And now we're starting to see more lightning strikes. When I start to see lightning strikes begin to cluster up, that's also a sign that the storm may be trying to pulse up again and, strengthen. Can we, are you able to go to the hot rods cam from Bowling Green Ballpark?
I can see if I can.
There
Let's
may
see
be a
here.
scene in there. Oh, well, let's look at this.
Let's just keep on this one. This
Yeah.
is showing those winds are kicking up quite a bit, and we're still hearing here and there some hail on the roof here.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's take, okay, thank you, Atlee. Yeah, look at that. This is Bowling Green Ballpark. Look at that.
Wow.
Near zero visibility. If you're out driving in this, that's bad. Look at all the hail that's falling. Those are not raindrops, folks. That's hail that is coming down. Now, the hot rods were supposed to, I believe, play a game this evening, but they've got the tarp out there in the infield, rightly so, and I don't see anybody in the stands, so that's good news because that is look at this.
It just seems like
Wow.
it's getting more dramatic as we're going along, and I mean the same thing as we're back to the Fountain Square camera. I mean, we're not able to see with all the light pollution,
Yeah.
see as much as it comes to the rain kind of passing by, but it's coming down at a pretty good clip.
Let's go back to the west, the camera, the Reservoir Hill
Okay.
camera. I'm just curious as to what that looks like. Oh yeah. Now see, here's where you cannot see whether a tornado is coming or not. And this is why I caution you to not pay attention to, if I see a funnel, then I'm going to go seek shelter. It's too late then. If it's rain obscured, if it's rain wrapped, you're not going to see it. But the radar is indicating that there's rotation there. And now we're starting to get some very heavy rain out of that one supercell, and you can see the winds now gusting probably over 30 miles per hour. And I'm still hearing some large hail that is falling at our studios, 10th and Chestnut downtown. We're located right in there behind the trees is where we're located. We're actually right in there. Across the street is that tower at Chestnut Street. So it's coming through, and we're still seeing there's that little twist on the radar, that little dry slot moving back into Bowling Green. And let's come in a little bit closer on that. Yeah, let's hone in on that. So right over Bowling Green, here's Chestnut. That's where we're located. But you go out towards Small House Road, Nashville Road, that's 31W. Lover's Lane, of course, Cemetery Road, the Indian Hills area, and even up toward Louisville Road North. This is where that potential tornado is at the moment, and now we're hearing,
It's back.
I would say, very large hail. I don't know if you guys can hear that at home, but that is some big hail. I've never heard it like that here. That's pretty significant. So just know that there still may be a tornado in there. Maybe, we're not sure, but we need to pretend, or not pretend, but just we need to seek shelter and do what you need to do as if it were a tornado, as if you saw it. The radar sees it. You may not be able to see it because it's covered in rain and hail. So let's just, behave like we need to behave here and just stay low until this passes. But you can see we've got a really good gate-to-gate shear. We've got inbound and outbound winds. It's a broad rotation, but it's enough to where there is concern that it could be wrapped in rain, and it is continuing to move off to the east at about 45 miles per hour. That tornado warning will continue for about 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing some lightning, noticing a little bit more lightning within the last few minutes, and that hail that is, it's got to be big. It's got to be big from what I'm just hearing hit the roof here.
Yeah, they can hear it. They say at home, or at least we hope home, you know, if you are still, you know, out and about, you should be seeking shelter if you're in Warren County at this point. But they say that they can hear it at home. It's pretty loud in here, and it's pretty loud there, just enough to, you know, pick up on our microphones here, Chris.
Yeah. I am just reading some texts.
Yeah.
People hearing the hail, seeing the hail. I've had no one yet say that there has been a tornado. We don't know that for sure, but the radar, which can see through the rain, the hail, and all that's happening here, can at least pick up on the rotation that is happening. There is definite rotation. We don't know if it's producing a tornado or not, but we need to just be in our safety mode until this passes. Now, will it hold together? I know some of you over here in Barron County, Barron River Lake areas, it continues to move east toward Glasgow. Is it going to hold together? Possibly. But we don't know. All we know is there's a lot of available moisture. There's a lot of available energy here. And so if it starts to feed off of that, even though it may look like it wants to weaken just a little bit, as I said a few minutes ago, it could ramp back up, and that's the problem, is that we don't know how it's going to behave here in the next little bit.
Yeah, there is an official report of about quarter to ping pong size hail in Bowling Green very recently. Maybe that was what we were hearing here.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty active storm right now.
Well, that is, I would say that's verified. That's a verified report.
Yeah.
We can attest to it here on 10th and Chestnut streets that is the case.
Okay.
Okay, so we're being told that when that supercell was over Logan County, it was media reporting that there was a confirmed tornado. That's when it was just north of Russellville, around the Lewisburg area, as that same cell just moved right across northern Logan County into Warren County, where it sits right now. So, yeah, so now we're starting to get reports from people who are saying, yeah, there was something there. Whether it was destructive or not remains to be seen. We'll probably get some, if it has done some damage, we will get some reports of that, I'm sure. Can we go, Micah, to the Wingate?
Wingate Hotel camera?
Yeah, camera.
Yeah, we're not seeing all too much there, but we'll pull it up real quick here. If we are able to, there it is, downtown live cam.
There's downtown.
That's downtown.
I still hear the sirens going off.
Now, there is Kentucky Transportation Cabinet that says District 3 crews from Logan and Todd counties are reporting numerous trees and other debris on roadways.
Okay, so we don't know if that was from a tornado or just straight line winds. We don't know, but there's been some damage. Now, I want to show you that this is the way it looks. This is I-65 and Scottsville Road in our AAA Systems Wingate Hotel camera that sits there right next to the new racetrack, truck stop, gas station, looking down Scottsville Road toward the city. You can see all of this. This is where we get the steam of the day that causes what we call scud clouds. These scud clouds are happening because of the high humidity and dew points in the air, the high moisture content, the warmth that is out there. And when the cool air hits the warm air, we often get these what we call scud clouds. You may look at that and think, well, that kind of looks almost, if you squint real hard, it looks like a tornado. These are not tornadoes. They're not dangerous. These are just, it's almost like fog. It's almost like fog that begins to lift and go up into the cloud with the rising air. There's still a lot of rising air that's happening with these storms, and that is what's keeping these things going. Just when we think they're going to die down and not be that big of a deal, then they ramp up again because of the rising motion of the air that's around it. And so with that, we will continue to see the possibility of dangerous weather as we go on into the night. So I'm just looking at new tornado warning.
There's a few people talking about exit 28 and exit 22. Person reporting that they are at a standstill.
Okay, we're hearing about 1,000 people without power, Logan and Christian counties, because of downed trees. This is exit 22
Okay.
of I-65, but it looks like traffic is moving okay, but it may be somewhere else close to 22 where the traffic is not moving that well. But whatever, if there was a tornado, it will have already moved past this particular area. Let's go back to the reflectivity. I was just seeing a tornado warning up in McLean County.
Yeah, that
So that's
second
out of our
line
viewing area.
is starting to,
Yeah.
is for sure making its, marching its way towards the east.
So here is our current cell, the one potentially tornadic that has been confirmed with a tornado, and it's starting to take that shape again. Let's zoom in on that and switch over to the velocity. Yep, I mean, it's still, even though it's sort of broad, it is right here where we have the brightest reds and the brightest greens together, inbound, outbound winds that are rotating right together. And this would be along, that's 65 right there, Smiths Grove, Oakland, and going south toward Plum Springs and the city of Bowling Green. That is where the potential best rotation and maybe a tornado is located right there. And it's moving to the east. So if you're on 65 or even 31Ws up here, as you know, it starts to separate a little bit more once you get in between. You go outside of Bowling Green, 31W and 65 kind of separate. Then you've got 101 going through Smiths Grove and meets up with 31W. You've got the Buc-ee's over here, and then you keep going until it meets, that's the Cumberland Parkway intersection right there as you move into Barron County out of Warren County, and that's Edmonson County. And then there's Park City and on and on. But if you're in this eastern path from where we're seeing that couplet of the reds and the greens together tightly wound, that is the potential tornado, and it's pretty much following 68 as it goes from Warren County into Barron County around the Bon Air community. This would be the Cumberland Parkway. So it's going to be in that general area where we're seeing the best rotation. And now that's a new tornado warning for that area that I was just pointing to. And here we go. This one's going to take in Barron County and parts of Warren County. And it's going to be until 8:45. So east central Warren County and central Barron County, that includes the city of Glasgow. You are now under that tornado warning until 8:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Plum Springs, Well, it's now past that, and it's moving east at 35 miles per hour. It has slowed down just a little bit. It was going about 45. Now it has slowed down to 35. Possible tornado and up to golf ball sized hail. So that is going to continue to be an issue with these storms as they begin to move east. Are you seeing anything new over there, Micah?
I'm not seeing anything so far. Just some people talking about, sirens going off again in Bowling Green. That's because of that new tornado warning.
Turn your mic on.
Yeah. Excuse me there. Not many people, speaking about, there's hail in Brownsville is what we're hearing. People hearing the tornado warning for the fourth time tonight in Bowling Green because of that new tornado warning, but not too much to add.
Okay. I just got a note here from Carl Cheney, Cheney's Dairy Barn, which is south of Bowling Green on 31W. Some big hail, 2-inch diameter hail. And he says that was around the Mount Olivet area where his daughter lives. And some pretty impressive pictures, which we'll try to effort those. Hey guys, I'm gonna send this to news so that you guys can maybe upload it and put it up. He said we could use these. So I'm gonna push that out to the news chat. We have a chat here where we keep up with everybody and what they're working on, what stories they're working on, and all of that. And we can send photos, we can send alerts, we can do all kinds of things with that, which is a pretty neat way to keep up with the news that's going on and when things are happening like this. So I will get the rest of those here in a moment. I'm still concerned about south of Smiths Grove.
Yeah.
That is where the potential tornado is located. That's why you're still hearing the warning sirens, the cows that are going off. A little jagged, a little rough around the edges, so to speak. Of course, when we get in this close, it's going to look pixelated. That's just the resolution of the Doppler radar. But we can usually tell where there's the probability of rotation enough to possibly cause a tornado to happen. We don't know that it is for sure, but it's one of those situations where you just need to seek shelter and understand that is the way the atmosphere is behaving this evening. And we're not even at the line of storms yet. That is still yet to come through. That is going to be a little bit later. So that's why we're a little bit cautious as to what is going to what's going to be happening right now. So you have it, Quincy? Okay. Producer Quincy has, look at that. You see that, Micah?
Yeah, that is, if not baseball size hail, it's definitely ping pong for sure.
Yeah, so his daughter, he says his daughter lives in the Mount Olivet area, which is up near Plum Springs. And so that verifies with where we saw the possible tornado and where some of the heavy, large hail was falling. But some of you are seeing a picture just like that around your house. So thank you, Jessica, for sending that. And she's got another couple of pictures here I'm going to send.
I've got a picture from northern Todd County.
Okay.
Where there are reports of chicken coops flattened. Blue Hole Road is provided by our media partner, WEKT.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now, granted, it's a chicken coop, but these are not the sturdiest of structures, but it's a structure nonetheless, and they're usually really long because that's where, of course, the chickens live, and they're where they reside and they feed and all of that. And you see some silos there in the back where the feed comes from, but I mean, that's totally destroyed. You can see some of the other structures in the back that were untouched. So to say this is a tornado, I can't say that for sure. The National Weather Service would go out and do a storm survey and look at that and determine if it is or was a tornado. It could be straight line winds, but that's destruction any way you slice it. Tornado or not a tornado, it's destruction. And so that is, whew, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just monitoring some other.
Got several people, all across this line here, this cell, reporting that they are hearing significant hail, golf ball size hail in Smiths Grove over towards into parts of like Oakland, and people also asking about Glasgow. That is, just to the east of this.
Let's show Glasgow and what's headed that direction. And guys in the booth, I'm sending you some more hail photos, so we'll try to get the names and the locations. If you do send us any kind of photos of any kind of damage or large hail or whatever, just be sure you put your location and your name on there, because once we show those pictures, the next thing out of people's mouth is, where is that? Where was it that happened? So please put your location on there. That would help us all. We're still seeing this kind of a dry inflow notch. This is where we have winds, surface winds that are inflowing into the supercell storm, and then the upper winds are wrapping it around, and that is where we call it a couplet, that is where the inbound and outbound winds come together, and where you see the greens meeting up with the reds, that is where the potential tornado would reside at this point, and it's following US 68 out of eastern Warren County through Bon Air, Mary Oaks. This is the Cumberland Parkway, that thicker line that you see there. 68 through here. You've got Bon Air Road, you've got Rick Road, Waller Road, Red Cross Road. There's the Red Cross community, and then over here is Railton. That's in Barron County. Now, and there's a new update that just came in, a new scan, and I'm going to say, Micah, it's right there. If there's a tornado, it's right there on 68 at Mary Oaks. And that tornado warning until 8:45. So Bon Air, seek shelter. It's just about upon you. Stovall, it's just about upon you. Oil City, now that's just right outside of Glasgow. Here is Glasgow. This entire circle here is Glasgow. It is moving to the east at what? 35.
35?
35 miles per hour.
Okay.
So the last update that I got on that new warning.
Okay, we'll go on that.
So
35 miles an hour. You think that's a good, almost due east, but kind of a southward turn there?
yeah. Okay, so now it's showing Glasgow twice. That's because we have an extra Glasgow showing up on the map. But let's use the 819 instead of the 823, just based on the movement. Now, we're right at the top of the hour, a little bit after, 5 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour. Here at WNKY, Chris Allen, Micah Henson, we're covering severe weather live on Facebook and on News 40, NBC and CBS 40. Potential tornado that is moving right across US 68 coming out of Bowling Green and Warren County, and should cross over Cumberland Parkway and then move east and a little southeast toward Glasgow. And I'm starting to see, here we go with that regeneration, I'm starting to see more lightning strikes. That means this storm is intensifying, And you can see proof of that right there, as this is starting to have that perfect classic supercell signature as it wraps around the inflow notch, and then the dark shaded area there in between Smiths Grove and Park City as you go up 31W, that is potentially some very large hail. And I bet if you put the hail tracker on that, that's what you would see. Yeah, there it is, right there. That black that shows up, it's actually a very deep purple, but it looks black maybe on your TV. And there's Storm Inspector, and what's cool about Storm Inspector, it has the software to where it can look at different pieces of weather and determine where the hail is, where the rotation is, where the heavy rain is, and we can even size up how big the hail might be. But just keep in mind, these are just estimates. This may not be exactly 2-inch hail, but 2-inch hail, if it's coming all the way down to the ground, as we have seen with some of the photos, that is going to do some damage to your vehicle, to anything that's outdoors. This is where you need to be inside. In fact, we have more hail photos that have been coming in to the newsroom and here at News 40. So guys, if you want to go to that and put that up, some of the new photos. Wow. That's got to be at least 2.5 inch diameter hail. We're talking about baseball size. Baseball size hail. Look at that. That's just, and notice all the ragged edges. That is where it goes up and down and up and down inside the thunderstorm, and it just keeps, water just keeps adding to it. Now, there's some large hail, but a little bit smaller. And we just keep getting photos and photos on top of photos of the large hail that has been coming down here within the last little bit. Thank you all for that. That helps us verify exactly what these thunderstorms are doing out there, especially that one. But look back to the west. Micah's got the line of thunderstorms that has still yet to come through.
Still looking for how fast this is moving.
Yeah.
Not trying to figure that, not finding that just yet. So we will continue to look at that. Let's maybe time. Do you want to time it out?
Go ahead and time it. Yeah, I would say let's make it about. Yeah, you got it about right. 40 to 45 miles per hour. Leave it at that.
We'll leave it at 45. So of course it's going to be a while. It's not going to be within the next 10 minutes. Let me reset that there, Chris. As my settings aren't the greatest apparently right now.
Well, it may be just because the line is not all together yet, so it may have trouble trying to draw the line and then time it out ahead of it, because it is starting to come together. And you could probably take a section of that line, like right here from I-69, it looks like maybe Caldwell County or somewhere back there, and I-24, that would be the Eddyville area, Grand Rivers, in that general area. That's where the strongest thunderstorm is going on, and that entire line goes up to Owensboro. So if it's moving east, let's say 50. Why don't we say 50? Okay. Now, so the cities closest to the line are the ones that's going to have the close to the real time here: Morton's Gap, Sacramento, Livermore. Now we're starting to encroach on local areas into Muhlenberg County, Nortonville, that's in Hopkins County, White Plains in Hopkins County. So in the next few minutes, those are the cities that are going to be affected by that line of storms, now moving through Madisonville, Calhoun, and Princeton, and then is going to move into the Bowling Green area as we go through time. Now the strongest part of that storm has seemed to shift it a little bit further north out of Glasgow, and Look at all the lightning that's now concentrated as you head up toward Park City, Cave City, the Munfordville area, all up and down 31W, even 31E, and I-65. It still has that little appendage down there just west of Glasgow. And you may want to zoom in there because I want to see how that is holding together.
We're at.
West of Glasgow.
Okay.
So if it stays on that particular path, and keep in mind, Glasgow, you're under a tornado warning for about 4 more minutes. Not seeing as much of a tight rotation here, but in the Beckton community, the Rocky Hill community, and then moving into the city of Glasgow, there's Industrial Drive, the industrial park is out there, and then there's the Cumberland Parkway as it moves into Glasgow and hooks up with 31E and Highway 90. This is where that possible tornado is, but it's not looking as well organized as it was just a few minutes ago. But as we've seen several times tonight, the thing starts to fall apart. We see kind of a ragged, jagged, kind of unorganized couplet, and then it'll start to refire. It'll start to ramp back up again and become strong. And so we'll continue to watch that because that could happen again. It's been happening with the health of that cell has just been incredible. And it's gone several hundred miles, just this one cell, from way back into the Boot Hill of Missouri, from Paducah, west of Paducah, and all the way across southern Kentucky, and is now moving into Barron County, where those tornado warnings are now located. So if you're in Glasgow, you should be in your shelter spot right now. Potential tornado, let's just think of it as an actual tornado. You're not going to be able to see it. We're after dark now. You're not going to be able to see it, especially if it's wrapped in rain. You're not going to be able to see it. The only way to maybe know that there is a tornado there is maybe with power flashes as the tornado hits the ground and moves across and, you know, shatters electrical wiring and things like that. But that's the only way to know. So now with it being after dark, visibility is even lower now. And then when you get a rain-wrapped potential tornado, you're not going to be able to see it at all. There's no way. So that is the problem with that particular cell. What do you got, Micah? Anything new?
We're getting all kinds of pictures, which we really appreciate. There's a few more pictures from WNKY of that northern Todd County possible tornado. Of course, we can't confirm that just yet, but there's a few more pictures if we wanted to pull those up. I'll only pull up a few here as.
And while you're doing that,
time there.
There is a new tornado warning for Ohio County, northern Ohio County, until 9 p.m. So now we're starting to see the northern extent of this. There's 165. Here's Ohio County, rather large county, including Hartford, Beaver Dam. It is the northern part of Ohio County where there is a tornado warning, and it's from that cell that is moving out of the Owensboro area that they're seeing some radar rotation with that. It is moving east. So if you're even in Grayson County, you've not had anything, not yet. Here's Grayson County, here's Litchfield. Clarkson would be on the eastern end, and then you've got Caneyville on the western end of the county. Mm-hmm. And you've got the Western Kentucky Parkway and US 62 going through there. If you're in that area, I would just be ready because this is all coming your way. And if not a tornado, you've got destructive hail. As you've been seeing the photos, and we've been hearing, we heard tonight some large hail that's been falling. That's going to do some destruction of vehicles, anything that's outdoors, really, you've got to be careful of that. So we're continuing to see where you see these whites show up. Now, he's gone to a different mode here that's reflectivity and hail together. And where we see these white shaded areas, that's where large hail is falling. And you see every one of these have that look to it. So right in the middle of these storms is a hail shaft. And that hail is coming down fast and hard. So we have more photos, is that right? Okay, here we go. Look at that.
There's the first comparison picture with a baseball, which, yeah.
It's just about as big as that baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say baseball is up to almost 3 inches.
Almost
I want to
3.
say it's
2.75, I think it is. Yeah, 2 3/4 inch hail. And folks are being a little creative using comparisons to other things around just whatever things you've got around your house to compare the hail size with. Now the concern, once we get this storm out of the way, is going to be that line, which, as you can see, is producing severe thunderstorm warnings and even tornado warnings. So it's not let up. It is not let up at all. And if anything, it is going to continue to be a problem, the hail and the heavy rain. Now, the good news that I'm seeing here, is this out of the Nashville radar?
This one, yes, it is out of Nashville. Let's see
Okay.
if near Hopkinsville does it any better. Doesn't seem like it's doing much better.
No.
That's going to be our best bet. Yeah, I think Nashville's going to be our best bet here, Chris.
From what this shows me and doing the comparison against the different Doppler radar sites, this is not as organized as it once was only a few minutes ago. There may be a little something there, but I'm not too concerned about that part of it. If something's going to happen, it's going to be on that southwestern corner of this entire supercell thunderstorm. So, and that's going to be down here where Glasgow is. So there, I'm not seeing the same kind of red versus green couplet being as tight or as organized as what we were seeing just back here into Warren County. But still, nonetheless, you're under a tornado warning there for that part of Barron County, central Barron County, and the Glasgow area for a little bit. I'm hearing something going off here, maybe a new warning.
Has this been expanded? No, that's still we're just wondering where we're getting this from. Is it possibly the one back here? Are we getting nearby?
I bet that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the line of severe thunderstorms is what is starting to close in on this supercell. About an hour or two ago, the supercell and the line of storms was at least 100, 150 miles apart. Now the line is catching up with that cell, and eventually they will merge because this is slowing down and the line of storms is now starting to speed up. And once we get this line through wherever you live, then we're done. We're done with any severe weather for the rest of the night. And it looks like this is going to come through within the next hour and a half. If it picks up a little more speed, maybe, I would say before 10 o'clock or around 10 o'clock, it should be either over the Bowling Green area or maybe even a little bit before 10 o'clock. And then it would just work its way east as we get into, say, 10:30, 11 o'clock, midnight, and all of this will be gone. But we don't want to let our guard down yet, especially with that supercell and that line of storms, which you can see is still producing, well, there's at least one tornado warning, but the rest of these are severe thunderstorm warnings and some very heavy rain. Not so much large hail like we've seen tonight in a lot of places, but more of a heavy rain and damaging straight line wind threat. That's what it's going to change modes. It's going to go from a tornado large hail mode into a damaging wind heavy rain mode once that line really starts to come together, as it's showing that it's working its way through that right now. So if we look at this, thank you, Micah, for the timer here. So if it's moving, the line is moving east at, say, 50 miles per hour, it would be in the western part of Warren County 20 minutes after 9 or so. So in about an hour from now, or yeah, in about an hour. So we still have that to go, but as long as we have tornado warnings, we're gonna keep going here until we get those in the clear. Once we go to just severe thunderstorm warnings, then we'll go back to programming and we'll put things we'll just kind of keep going on Facebook and social media. But let's go back to that tornado warned storm in Glasgow and Barron County. That's in effect until 8:45, so we still have a little bit to go. I'm starting to see this starting to ramp back up again.
Yeah, it's ramping up a little bit. I think we've still got to keep in mind the hail swath.
Yeah.
Of course, but I think you're right where it's kind of seemingly.
Look at all the lightning that's starting to pop.
Yeah, I think we're gonna still be looking at this right here though.
Yeah, it's either going to be right in that area just north of Glasgow as you go up 31E, or right into Glasgow proper in the city limits or close to that area. Along the Cumberland Parkway is going to be where that, if something's going to happen, it's going to be right in there. Yeah.
There's storm relative velocity.
Okay, so what this the storm relative velocity also factors in not just the rotating winds, but rotating winds with speed. In other words, forward motion. So with that, we are seeing maybe a ramping back up of the inbound, outbound winds, and then of course the speed of the storms forward. Even though it's slowed down just a bit, there's still something that's just kind of in there that's like, yeah, maybe I'm tapping into some available moist air and unstable air and some buoyancy, up and down motion in the atmosphere